You are now listening to The Box Out with Kahlil Thomas and Jason Courtney on the One Podcast Network. Let's get it.
From NJ to BK in the world, it's The Box Out here in the One Podcast Network. My name is Kahlil Thomas. Joining me in a few minutes will be Jason Courtney from Brooklyn, New York. We are back. I had to take a week last week off. I had to get some surgery done. But we are back, ready to go, ready to get it going. And our opening tip tonight is probably the most surprising story in basketball right now. So, imagine this, if you will. Your favorite team, NBA, WNBA, college, let's go G League. They win a championship just 1 year ago. You have a stacked team that returned intact. Obviously, you lose a piece that was important, but became kind of less important. You go out, you get a big piece. During this season, you start hot this season and kind of falls apart. Injuries had a lot to do with it. A lot of your starting lineup had to miss games, had to miss the time. You make the playoffs. Cool. You made a run last year. You make the playoffs this year. Everything is looking good. And you get upset in the first round of playoffs. Now, this is coming off of a championship the year before. What do? Well, if you're the New York Liberty, you fire your head coach. Sandy Brondello, I'm going to say architect, because obviously Jonathan Kolb is the GM of the New York Liberty. But Sandy Brondello, who brought the Liberty to the championship, won the title last year, is no longer head coach of the New York Liberty. I don't say she was fired. Her contract was not renewed. I think there's a difference between someone being fired and their contract not being renewed. So I guess she was fired in a weird roundabout way, but in reality, her contract expired. It was not renewed. She's no longer the head coach of the New York Liberty. And, you listen to what the GM of the Liberty said, and it was kind of like, has someone who covers games, interviews people, spoke to general managers, athletic directors, and coaches. And you learn how to kind of figure out what they say, because a lot of times what they say, for lack of a better term, is bullshit, and it is talk. And you're just like, did they say anything just now? Because I feel like they didn't say anything. Here's what Jonathan Kolb, the Liberty GM, had to say about the firing. And now when you hear it, pause and think about what was said, and if you understand what the hell he said. So, you can stand still, or you can embrace change and move forward. That's the one quote. The other quote: this decision was in no way punitive, nor was it reactive. But it's instead rooted in being proactive. Nor was this decision based solely on the results this past season. Ultimately, we determined that evolution and innovation is what is needed at this time. Think about it. I'll give you about 3 seconds. What the hell did you just say? It wasn't punitive. It wasn't reactive. It was proactive. Okay. Cool. Nor was this decision based solely on the results of this season. So you had a disappointing season, a disappointing end to the season. You had a great, promising, undefeated start. It kind of fell apart. Not Sandy's fault at all. Injuries became a bugaboo of this team this year. So what was the reasoning? right? What you win a championship last year, you make the playoffs. Now you got knocked out in the first round by a Phoenix Mercury team that was well below where you are. I hate to do that because they're still playing. The Liberty are not playing. So for me to say that, it's kind of like, yeah. But you get upset in the first round of the WNBA playoffs. How could this not be an indictment on the season and how the season went and how the season ended? You can't say, oh, we're being proactive, but this had nothing to do with this season. You won a championship last year. You just won one. And you fired a coach after getting knocked out in the first round of the playoffs to a team that, and for all intents and purposes, was 2 steps below you. But this is not about the season. It's not about the season at all. Like, we're not about that. The other quote that he said, no, I gotta find it. This is the weird one, and this is the kind of like, huh? No, what? This is not a results-based organization. This is not about winning or not winning. It is about how do we position ourselves to be at the top of the league in a real sustainable way as the league does evolve in the ways we're talking about on the floor. What? Huh? I'll read it again. This is not a results-based organization. This is not about winning or not winning. It is about how do we position ourselves to be at the top of the league in a real sustainable way as the league does evolve in the ways we're talking about on the floor. I'm really trying to figure out the say what and what he means, but you're running a team, you're running a franchise. To say that you're not a results-based organization makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's not about winning or not winning. So what is it about? Isn't the goal every season to win a championship? That's the goal. I don't care what sport you play. I don't care at what level. I don't care who you are. When you play a competitive sport, the goal is to win. That's the goal. That's the result. The end result you want is to win that final game of the season and lift the trophy. Billy Beans used to say in Oakland, we lost our last game. We want to win the last game of the season, which is him winning a championship. That's the last game of the season. That's the idea of a team. Competitive sports is I want to win. It could be goddamn dominoes. You want to win. It sounds kind of like new age woo woo, kind of like we're not about results. Everybody got a trophy for getting to the first round of playoffs this year. That's what it sounds like. So you fire a coach who's definitely going to be the Hall of Fame, who just won a title for you last year, won a title in Phoenix, and now the search is starting. He said the search is going to go for a long time. They're going to get this right. This is his third coaching search since becoming the GM in 2019. So third time picking a coach. They're going to take their time. They didn't say who they're looking at. Obviously, they can't because, tampering and shit. Reports have Becky Hammon possibly being contacted when season's over. Dawn Staley being contacted down the line. Those are the two names that are being floated. Becky Hammon, especially because she's a former Liberty player. The Aces win another title this season. What else does she have to do in Vegas? Why not go back home to the Liberty and see if she can bring a title home? Possible. Dawn Staley, she was called by the Knicks about the Knick coaching vacancy before Mike Brown took it. So she's still a hot commodity. So there's a lot of different moving parts, but what the GM said still makes no sense to me. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell. Bruce, what's going on? Bruce, Wednesday nights, armchair. Yikes for the Liberty. Yeah. Dad, what's going on? It makes no sense. It's all nonsense. It's nonsense. It's that double talk that you hear, and you're like, Okay. What? So Liberty no longer has a coach. We have this CBA that's expiring that can cause a work stoppage. We have Breanna Stewart. She's getting a little older. Sabrina Ionescu, it's her team. Let's kind of put it out there. So we have the assumption is that Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, Jonquel Jones comes back. So you bring those three back and you kind of figure out the rest there. Is that the right move? I don't know. Based on what he's saying, I don't know what the fuck he's gonna do. I'm lost. I'm lost on who's gonna hire. I'm afraid the hire is gonna be like someone really random, or probably, and I talked about this with Jason, probably another male coach. And I know people will say, "Oh, it should be male coaches." Yeah. You fire a female coach to bring in a man coach, and it's happened throughout the league. It happened last season. It's a thing. And my fear is you're taking jobs from capable women coaches, successful ones, and bringing in really good men coaches, assistant coaches in the league, or really good women's basketball coaches in college. My fear is those women are going to lose those jobs to those men. But that's beside the point. Neither here nor there. I'm afraid about what the moves he has in the chamber. Right? Do you look at Breanna Stewart and go, maybe she's on the tail end? Do we bring her back? Right? And she's one of the ones making $250,000, probably more, especially depending on how the CBA goes in negotiations. What do you do with that? Jonquel Jones got hurt a lot this season. Is that a sign of slowing down? Is it breaking down? Or is it just like, hey, she's had a bad luck season and she's got hurt constantly, right? Sabrina's there. That's their one, right? If they're going to hold on to her, they're going to build around Sabrina Ionescu. But is it possible, and I know Bruce said this on his show last night here on the One Podcast Network, Wednesday night at 8 p.m., what if Sandy goes and coaches the new Portland franchise? And he said Portland's in the state of Oregon. Who played for the Oregon Ducks in college? Sabrina Ionescu. Kind of a conspiracy theory, but it's possible. Sandy Brondello's not done coaching. Someone's going to pick her up. I would love to see her with one of these expansion teams like a Toronto, like a Portland. I don't see her waiting for Philly and waiting for Cleveland. I see her jumping back into it next season. I would love for a coach of that caliber to go to an expansion team and kind of like Tom Coughlin with the Jacksonville Jaguars back in the day. Like get them going. All right. But where do you go if you're the Liberty? Right? Do you say, okay, Sabrina, you're going to be here, but we're going to tear it all down around you and kind of rebuild it again? Right? He said something about innovation. Does that mean getting a new coach, getting a new offensive system, and getting players that fit that system? Do the players now fit the new coach's system? Is it a matter of, these pieces we have don't fit. Let's move these pieces out, bring these pieces in. We don't know yet, right? It really depends on who the coach is and who they bring in. Do you go and me personally, and Bruce is going to love this, you bring back Teaspoon, she out there. Chicago Sky fired after last year for no reason at all. Do you go back to a Liberty legend and say, come home, help us, we need help? Or is that just not innovative enough for John Nicole? We don't know. So a lot is going to be made about this hire. Based on that hire, you're going to see what they do. Does this new hire say, I can adjust my system to anyone you have? Bring back those core three, work around it. Emma Musselman coming back, right? But Nigel Laney was out a lot. Does she come back healthy? Because that was a big piece that were missing during the season. And I feel like people kind of underestimate what Benijah brought to the team. That was a huge loss for that team. Does she come back healthy to give them that other option, especially shooting from the outside? Do they get more physical? Do they bring Spoon in and say, we got to start bodying some people and get physical? Because that was always the bugaboo for this team, even when they won the championship last year. When they played the likes of the Connecticut Sun when they were good, or the Aces, or even the Dallas Wings, when they had their size down low with Sabally, they struggle with physical teams. Do the Liberty go, we need to get more physical, right? Jonquel Jones can't be the only force down low that we have right now. It's not fair to her to go down low and just get banged around all the damn time, and no one else is down there but her. All right. So, new head coach, that's going to be a big thing. It's going to be interesting to see how it kind of goes, to see how long this takes. Right. He said, we're going to take our time with this coaching search. How long do they take with this coaching search? So, what's next for New York Liberty? Who the hell knows? We got to get a new coach. And I say we because I'm a fan. I don't care. We have to get a new coach, and based on that coach, we shall see what other moves they make. We have an expansion draft. We have 2 new teams coming in. Right? Do you say, hey, let's expose Benigel Hamilton and see what happens? Right? They did it with Kayla Thornton last year, and Kayla Thornton, before she got hurt at the end of the season, was killing it with the Golden State Valkyries. So it will be an interesting summer or fall. We're in the fall now. It don't feel like fall, but we're in the fall for the New York Liberty. Andrew Reese and Witherspoon to New York. Listen, Sabrina Ionescu, Andrew Reese inside out, and do you have a Brianna Stewart? Can they keep Jonquil Jones and make them? There's a lot here. There's a lot. And like, once again, I said before, the CBA is going to really determine what happens, because it depends on how much money, how much money teams get for cap space. How much money do those top players make, right? Those cornerstone players, because there's certain players on each team that make X amount of money. How much do they make? And how much does that leave from everyone else? The CBA is going to determine what the Liberty does. Not just the coach, but where does all the money come from? Where does the money fall? And I think it's going to be very interesting to kind of see how that goes going forward. Speaking of WNBA, we are in the playoffs. We got 2 series, both tied at 1 game apiece. The Phoenix Mercury, who upset, I'm going to say upset. I know some people might not agree with that. Upset the Liberty. They are currently facing the Aces. They're tied 1 game apiece. The Minnesota's facing Phoenix. Vegas is facing Fever. I always get that confused. Both series tied at 1. The Fever is keeping up with the Aces for now. The Fever, without Caitlin Clark, playing very, very well, which everyone assumed they made the playoffs. Oh, cool. Great story. Without Caitlin Clark, they're not going to do anything. But they're kind of proving everybody wrong. The Aces, Asia Wilson had a crazy game in game 2 to tie the series at 1. Remember, semifinals, best of 5. So first team to 3 wins would get to the WNBA championship, which is the best of 7. Minnesota, Phoenix tied at 1, which I'm still shocked about completely. But I think we're looking at a Lynx Aces WNBA finals. I don't really think it's one of those things where people are like, can the Mercury and the Fever make it? Can they make this happen? No. I think it's good TV right now. It's great TV to watch a best of 5 tied at 1. But the end game is going to be Vegas and Minnesota in the finals. Nafisa Collier against Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson, who won the league MVP over Collier in a decision that, honestly, I feel a certain way about it, only because it's more of a what if, right? Nafisa Collier got hurt. She missed, I want to say 2.5 weeks. And that killed her MVP candidacy. And then obviously Asia Wilson, the Aces going on that ridiculous run. And that pumped Asia up, has Collier's kind of recovering, getting her game back when she returned from injury. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see how that matchup happens. And I'm already saying it's going to happen. I know I'm probably shooting myself in the foot. I'm going to look a complete jackass when it doesn't happen and the Fever or the Mercury upset and get into the finals. But I totally foresee Aces Lynx in the WNBA finals. And I'm probably wrong. Please don't hold that against me. 30-second break. Come right back. We're going straight to the NBA. Training camp starts. A lot of questions. And no one got any answers. So we'll be right back. 30 seconds. See ya. And we're back here in the Box Out and One Podcast Network. Kahlil Thomas with you on this Thursday night, September 25th. I said, listen, it's fall. I know, Sammy, it is fall, but God damn it felt like summer today. I was sweating balls off at work today. But anyway, NBA training camp starting up. They had media days. It was funny because I knew media day was happening this week. Did anyone give a shit about the Brooklyn Net media day? Because I really kind of forgot that Brooklyn had a team, kind of a little bit, because no one's talking about the Brooklyn Nets at all. And they're asking Michael Porter about driving and having a car and shit. And I'm like, okay, this is what we're talking about? Cool. So Brooklyn's going to suck. So those Brooklyn Net fans, be ready for a long season, because that media day, and I went back and watched it, it was like pulling teeth for a little bit watching that. I'm like, there's nothing cool about this team at all. But anyway, the big story of the week, Fred VanVleet of the Houston Rockets, he tore his ACL. He's out for the season. Houston just acquired Kevin Durant. They were thinking of big things for this season. The problem is going to become, I think it's kind of twofold. And I feel like people are looking at the VanVleet injury as this very terrible thing that happened to a very important piece to the Houston Rockets. Now, when you look at the Houston Rockets, I'm bringing up their depth chart, so I was curious about it before the show started. VanVleet's out. So right now, their point guard stable, as is, Aaron Holiday, Reed Shepherd. That's your top 2 point guard options. You could probably play Josh Okogie there if you want to, but it's Shepherd, Holiday. I feel like Shepherd would probably get the edge over anybody else. I know they're looking at trades, and there are some point guards on the market that's not, obviously not VanVleet quality, but maybe can give you 15, 20 minutes off the bench. But this team has is. I didn't really see VanVleet being like this end all be all, like, oh my God, he's gonna run this team because Durant and VanVleet's making a lot of money, $25 million, which I think was more of like a market price than anything else. Not saying Fred VanVleet is not good, but the market, Daniel Jones got $45 million. The market calls for money. You gotta spend some money, and VanVleet was, last season's Evan Turner from years and years ago. If you remember Evan Turner getting that big contract, that's what we're talking about right now. Kevin Durant, Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith, Sengun, who I still love Sengun. They got Clint Capella back, Jeff Green, Terry Eason, who I think is going to be a superstar in the league. They will be fine, right? The Knicks signing Malcolm Brogdon, that could have been a perfect piece for Houston to pick up, but the Knicks got him obviously before the VanVleet injury. But someone like a Malcolm Brogdon, that's probably what they're going to end up either trading for, or someone they're signing kind of off the scrap heap to pick up some of those minutes, or at least be there when Reed Shepherd goes 2 for 12 in a game, which happened quite often last year. So Houston should be good, even without Fred VanVleet. Good team, no veteran leadership besides Durant, and he's not big on leading. Yeah, but they have Ime Udoka, and Udoka got that team right in 2 years. Considering what they were before he got there, he got the team to where they should be now. I added Durant to a team that was hungry, play defense, which I think is going to be a huge thing. Udoka is going to expect KD to play defense, and he's going to have to D up. And Udoka's not going to bench Kevin Durant. You're not going to bench Kevin Durant because he missed an assignment on a screen. However, down the stretch, Udoka has no problem sitting you if you're going to be a liability on defense. And I can see that happening. I can see Udoka going like, you know what? Last 10 seconds of the game, I really don't trust KD. We're going to sit you down. Amen Thompson's going to go in 3. KD sit this one out. Or maybe not have KD in the middle of the action, have him off on that far baseline next to the guy you know is not getting the ball for that final shot for the other team. I could also see that too. As mentioned, the Knicks signed Malcolm Brogdon. And besides Jalen Brunson, they didn't have another point guard. Deuce McBride is not another point guard. Deuce McBride is a 2 guard. He's an undersized 2 guard, but a 2 guard nonetheless. The one issue, and I know Jason and I always talk about it, Tom Thibodeau and his lack of rotations. He was kind of limited rotation-wise because he had no one to sub in. Think about the Knicks bench in the last 3-4 years. What got off the bench consistently? And I think that's the key word here, consistently. Because Deuce gave you some time, gave you some minutes, gave you some points, gave you that fire. Was it every night? Hell no. Absolutely not. Right? But who could you put in to spell Brunson for 5-6 minute spells? Really didn't have that. Right? Brogdon gives you the opportunity where you can either rest Brunson, in some cases put Brunson at the 2 off the ball, right? Have him kind of stand around a little bit. That's cool too. And Brogdon, that experience, you need that coming off the bench, because that's one thing with the Knicks bench. You had a lot of experience in old guys, but not a lot of big game. And Brogdon, no championship. I know he's a big game, he won title, but he's been around and he's been in big games and he's played in big games and succeeded in big games. So I think that's something that guys like a Deuce, guys like a I never pronounced his name right, Diadet, the French guy we drafted last year, Tyler Kolek can learn from Malcolm Brogdon, because at some point Tyler Kolik's going to get in that game and get those minutes. And you look at the team last year, who's Kolek really going to look towards on that bench? You know, Brunson's in the game. Who can Kolek talk to and go, so what just happened there? You didn't have that last year. So I think Brogdon would be a really good piece for that team and those young guys. It's going to be very interesting to see that. Sammy, Van Vliet is tough and griddle. Not scared of a big moment, plus market value. But was he really going to be the end-all, be-all for the Houston Rockets this season? Was he really going to be like, oh, that Van Vliet's really a really glue guy? No, he wasn't going to be that guy. He was going to be good, going to run the offense, figure out ways to get KD involved, spread the ball around, but was he going to be the end-all, be-all? Absolutely not. So the injury is substantial for Houston, but I don't see it as this monumental, earth-shaking thing that's going to cost Houston, a berth in the Western Conference Finals, because I see them going to the Western Conference Finals. I'm not giving predictions yet. I'm going to wait a couple more weeks because someone else is going to get hurt. I'm just waiting for it. Knicks are solid. Will continue to win games when they play defense. They will win games for the Knicks. Defense always win big games. True. Also wins big games. I know he's going to argue with me, my dad, when he sees me tomorrow. Guys not playing 45 minutes a game. Guys being like, hey, I'm getting 37 minutes a game and I feel really, really well rested going into the playoffs, and not like I'm going to puke all over myself because I'm exhausted by game 5 of the first round. I think that's the key here. And Mike Brown plays his bench. So I think it was imperative that they get someone off the bench to spell Jalen Brunson at some point. Would I like more bench help? Yes. But we ain't getting that. So right now, the Knicks starting lineup: Jalen Brunson, OG's at the 2, Mikal Bridges at the 3, Josh Hart at the 4. I do not agree with this at all. Karl-Anthony Towns at the 5. If I was kind of putting this together, I would try not to start Josh Hart and have Josh Hart coming off the bench. I would put OG at the 4, Towns at the 5, because you want Mitch off the bench. I think Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench. One, you kind of reduce his minutes, keep him a little fresher for the playoffs, like they did last year, and he played really well in the playoffs. The only issue is going to be if you put OG at the 4, Bridges either plays the 2 or the 3. You have to figure out who's playing the 2 or the 3, whatever position that Bridges isn't playing, and that leaves you with not a lot of options, honestly. You might have to play Hart. Looking at it now, you might have to play Josh Hart. You might have to start him, because that second rung is Brogdon, Deuce, Jordan Clarkson, who needs to come off the bench. I'm not putting Jordan Clarkson in the starting lineup at all. It ain't happening. Yabusele, who I love, and Mitch. Yeah, I think they have no choice. They have to start Josh Hart and start him at the 4, which is he's a very undersized 4, but you might not have no other choice because you can't put him at the 2 and flip flop OG and Josh Hart because Josh Hart can't shoot for shit. I know he hits big shots. I know he hits the occasional 4 3-pointers in a game, but I'm not trusting Josh Hart to be at the 2 guard of a possible championship team. So it ain't happening. In other news, and it was interesting to see this story come up for the Lakers, and I've stayed away from the Lakers as much as humanly possible on this podcast. JJ Redick, he got an extension. Rob Pelinka, the president of the Lakers, also said something interesting about LeBron. So we talked about LeBron about a month ago, and we kind of said how LeBron does seem a little salty that he's not the center of the Laker universe anymore. Luka signed his extension. It's Luka's team. They're starting to look ahead to see, okay, LeBron's last contract years this year, he took the player option. Damn it. Darn. What do we have to do to make the team better around Luka, not around LeBron? And I think LeBron felt a certain way about it. He's been a little salty about it. Rob Pelinka kind of, how can I put this? Didn't kind of put his foot out and just kick LeBron out, but said, hey, LeBron's Laker future's up to LeBron. We would love to keep him. We would love to have him. But, at the end of the day, it's up to him, his family, and how he wants to handle things. And, it's balls in his court. Which is pretty much saying, hey, you can stay or leave. We don't give a shit. We got Luka Doncic, and we're gonna run with him. So, see, peace. That's essentially what Pelinka said. We talked about Jonathan Kolb earlier in the Liberty and what was really said. In this case, we can clearly see what Rob Pelinka was talking about. Hey, thanks. Get the fuck out. It's over. Thanks for coming. You guys that Fugazi bubble championship. We really appreciate it, LeBron. You can go now. So it seems that the Lakers are already starting to kind of, and they're not trading LeBron James. Let's stop that now. Let's stop that noise that probably was created by LeBron's team, probably started by his people. LeBron's looking at Dallas. LeBron's really unhappy. He could come to New York, go to the Knicks. Imagine LeBron playing 41 games in the Garden. It ain't happening. One, no one in their right mind is picking up a $52 million player option for LeBron. Two, in order to make the deal, you would have to give up a ridiculous amount of talent and assets to make the deal happen. To have the money match, or the Lakers are going to ask for a ridiculous haul back. It's not going to happen. It can't happen. So this is what it is right now. Right now, LeBron is a Laker. For now. And we will see what happens going forward. For now. I think Jason just popped in. Jason Cordner, what's going on, bro?
Nothing much, man. Sorry about everything. I think LeBron's gonna stay a Laker, by the way. I think he's his legacy, his ego will make him stay a Laker.
Well, I mean, we all know LeBron's ego's massive. Very.
Oh, wait. With one contingency. If the Knicks, which I think the Knicks are going to be a 60-win team, and I think if the Cavs feel like they need something, they will mortgage their future for one more LeBron title. So I think that's the only caveat to LeBron not staying. He's either going to be a Cav or a Laker. Nowhere else.
Don't say that. I don't want that.
You know that's what's going to happen.
So I say we give up a first-round pick and Tyler Kolek for LeBron. That's all you're getting from us.
But what are the Cavs going to be willing to give up?
Who does Cavs? Good question, because I've been in this depth chart binge for the last couple of days, looking at like who people got, stuff like that. Cleveland. So their starting five is Lonzo Ball, Donovan Mitchell, DeAndre Hunter, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Craig Porter off the bench, Sam Merrill, Dean Wade, Larry Nance Jr., who I forgot was still in the league. He's back in Cleveland. Thomas Bryant, Killian Hayes. Holy shit. Tyrese Proctor from Duke, Luke Travers, Jalen Tyson, Darius Garland, who'll be back later, so he's not even in the mix right now. Max Strus, he's still out. He's not in the mix either. If you're Cleveland, you have pretty good pieces that are not making a lot of money. Like the only one making any real big money is Spider. He's making 46.3. So you probably could trade other pieces because Lonzo's making 10, Hunter's making 23, Allen's making 20. Sorry, Mobley's making 46 too. But you have 3 of the 5 starters not making a lot of money, so it's possible.
I can see them all try to offload Allen for Bron. Allen Nance, first round pick.
There's no way they'll take Allen and just Allen and Nance in a first rounder. I feel like they'll want a lot more than that.
I think so.
The Lakers will try. I hate to use this term on air because I know I might get in trouble. The Lakers are going to try to trade rape someone. It's going to happen. They're going to try it, and someone's going to bite because it's LeBron. And they're like, LeBron, what do you guys want? That's what's going to end up happening. It's going to be bullshit.
I can see that.
So I started the show. I'm going to circle back because you're the writer. You're the Liberty guy. You've been covering Liberty since their days at Westchester County Civic Center. What are your thoughts on Sandy Brondello getting fired? And I read what Jonathan Kolb said, and it made absolutely no sense at all. What happens now? Because I feel like you almost have to look at the roster and go, this roster is not going to be the same next year.
Yeah, I think that unlike Tibbs, we kind of knew Tibbs was going to get fired. No one saw this one coming. However, we talked about the beginning of the season. They were like 9-1, and then everything started. Once Stewie got hurt, the wheels just fell off. And I think that was more so about the roster, not so much the coaching. You know, they lost a key piece they lost 2 key pieces for the championship team last year. And I think we thought Cloud would have made a difference with the current roster now, but as you saw the season prolong, they didn't have enough dogs. They did not have enough dogs. And then when Stewie came back, then she got hurt again. She played great in game 1, and in game 2, she didn't have anything left in the tank against the Mercury. But I think it was more of a roster construction, more so than blaming on the head coach. It seemed like it's a scapegoat, no?
Well, yeah. I mean, you put together super teams, and
that's what happens.
You have that first season of adjustment. They won the title last year. This year, you add in Chester Cloud. You bring in Emma Musselman. You lose Kayla Thornton, which I still think to this day they should not have left her out there in the expansion draft. I think that's 100%. A piece you keep on because was she a big star? Was she a big name? No. Was she a glue piece? Yes.
100%.
I feel like they were trying to kind of fill that hole with Fabich and Messelman, and I'm trying to who's the other person? There was another player I'm looking at right now. Johannes kind of had an off year because you were assuming that what you saw from her these last couple of years that she would kind of elevate her game and go up,
and she hasn't.
It just kind of stayed where it was and where it's been. So you try these different players to kind of take up for Kayla Thornton, and I think Emma just came too late. I think that was the big thing. Yeah. I think she came way too late in the season. She was already worn down from Euros. You had nothing left. John Quill got hurt. Brianna got hurt. Sabrina missed a few games. And I hate to say it. I know Bruce is going to jump all over me. Maybe Courtney Vandersloot was that piece that they shouldn't let go. Put it out there. Maybe Sloot was the one.
Maybe.
Just saying. But you said there are no dogs. I said whenever they play teams like Connecticut, Dallas, Vegas, and they go down low, they could never handle it. And I feel like that's something that the league is starting to develop now, where you're drafting dogs. Teams are drafting stars down low, not all guards anymore. This league is not guard centric. It's dogs, and the Liberty have Jonquel, and that's it. That's all they got.
And you spoke about the expansion draft. We got to do this all over again in a couple of months. So who are they going to leave?
You got 2
months?
No,
yeah.
2. Wait,
two teams.
Yeah, Portland, Toronto. Yeah, okay. I thought I was right.
Yeah.
Portland, Toronto. So now you got to leave some of these players out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you leave out Kennedy Burke, who played decently this year? Do you leave out Marie Johannes? Do you take a chance and leave Messerman out there, even though she just got here? I don't know where they go from here. And in the CBA is kind of the outstanding thing of like what happens when if there's even a season. There might not be a season next year. So
forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, see about that too. If you were the Liberty, who would you be looking at for this job opening? Bruce said this job is not enticing, but who would you consider for this job?
I think you might have to look on your bench. Your coach might be sitting on your bench right now, but and talk about enticing. I'm not saying this. It's still a premier destination, but I think the roster construction is going to be very key in who you might bring in as a head coach. If you're looking for someone outside on your coaching staff.
So the rumor's been Dawn Staley.
Would Dawn take this considering she didn't get the Knicks job?
No.
That's how I feel too.
You're a god in Columbia, South Carolina right now.
Yeah, you're not coming here.
Unless you go to the NBA, you stay in Columbia, South Carolina. Becky Hammond was mentioned as possible, which sounds a good idea. Weatherspoon, Teaspoon's out there. She's available.
I would give her some consideration.
Here's my issue with her and what Kolb said. They want a coach who's innovative and new thinking. Spoon has an old school mindset. Would that work with what they're currently looking for? Based on what he said about innovation and cutting edge, does Spoon fit that bill? Because to me, she doesn't.
She doesn't fit that bill, but she fits the bill like getting these young ladies into shape. Like she would probably call Sabrina, hey, stop chucking so much threes. She'll probably, I think she'll be in their face like that. And I think, to me, that's what they need more than somebody who's innovating. Not with this roster. It's a veteran team. You save that for the young legs like Atlanta Dream or something like that.
It's going to be very interesting to kind of see how this plays out. I want to go back to the NBA real quick. Like I said, I've been looking at depth charts and nerding out already, getting ready for our prediction show at some point in the next couple weeks. I know Kyrie's out, and they're saying that Kyrie's working out.
They say he's had a schedule.
So that could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is Dallas the scariest team in the Western Conference right now?
I think they're the most question mark. And I think with Van Vliet getting hurt, that kind of opens the door for them a little bit. Because I thought it was a big drop-off between Houston and Dallas. Now I think it's pretty much on par.
Yeah, I saw Van Vliet earlier and how I don't think Van Vliet is as big an injury as everyone's making out to be. I think
really.
I think he running the team and having someone that can run things and facilitate, get the ball out, yes. But do I think Malcolm Brogdon could have did it if we didn't sign him? Yes.
Westbrook, you think Westbrook might go there?
Westbrook and Durant again? I'm not against it. It'll make for good TV, but I'm not sure that Durant's like, I won't do this shit again. I'm over this shit. There was, hold on, I'm gonna see this because there was something that popped up earlier as I was looking up stuff about Van Vliet. And obviously it's all rumors, so let's take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying it's all gonna happen, but they are saying that Derek White and Nebhard are two players that the Rockets are making phone calls about to replace Van Vliet in Houston.
I don't think Boston's coming off of Derek White.
What Nebhard for Indiana?
See, It all depends how it might be a mid-season acquisition. It all depends how the beginning of the season goes for Indiana, because I don't know. Even with Halliburton, do we delegate them to the play-in game?
Yes.
Because right. So you don't think they're a non-playoff team? You don't think they're the Wizards?
No, hell no, no.
Right. So
Are they going to be number 3 in the East? No.
No.
Are they between that 6 and 10? Definitely.
Yeah.
I can see that. They don't have trouble scoring. I'm sorry, the point guards they have in the team, they're good. Like, I'm not saying they're terrible, but you lost a almost superstar. I almost said superstar. I got to kind of pull that back.
And they lost Turner.
And they lost Turner. So you're kind of starting from scratch right now. And Rick Carlisle, as good a coach as he is, you're missing 2 gigantic pieces to this team. So if they make it in the play-in at 8, I can completely see that happening.
Then you might as well get an asset and hope for next year.
And pray for the best. That's what they got to do at this point. Just say, hey, this is a redshirt year. We're going to try our best, and let's see what happens. Let's run it back. I won't talk to you about this story. I saw it today. So the NCAA granted a former G League player 2 years of eligibility to go to college. So he's a foreign player. Theory Darlin. He's going to Santa Clara. The NCAA kind of loosened the restrictions on, playing professionally. So he's getting 2 years. Are we going to start seeing this more? Because I feel like players are like, you know what? I'm not going to get drafted in the first 15. I'll put my name out. But now if the G League's an option to go to G League for a year and maybe go back to college, either college they agreed to attend or have an open recruiting. Is that a good thing, or is that opening up Pandora's box a little bit?
I think it's a combination of both. I think NIL kind of opened up that box where it's like, hey, you're somewhat, we still don't say the word student athlete. That's still frowned upon. So you kind of are an amateur per se, amateur/professional a little bit. So I think we're going to see more of this down the pipe. And I think it's actually good because, one, you could go back to school, make a little bit of money, and improve your draft stock the next year. Totally different sport. I thought if Arch Manning had a good showing, if he had a good showing this year, he would have been a high draft pick. But now we know he's not coming out this year. He's going to go back to Texas, make another $5 million in NIL, and then try to improve his stock next year. So I have no problem with this.
Arch Manning is garbage.
As quickly as we forgot, he's not Eli. He's not. He's definitely the grandson of Coop. Of Arch.
Of Arch.
Yeah.
Archie. He's gonna be Archie. He's Archie level. He ain't Peyton Eli level. He's him getting booed at home was the highlight of my week last week, 2 weeks ago.
He's not even on Dark's level.
God, don't get me started. I didn't want to see him at all this year. And the Giants like, all right, sorry, Russ, get the fuck out. Like, damn, man. You're gonna really throw him out there now? In other college basketball news, and I want to get your thoughts because I know you're a college basketball guy. Bruce Pearl stepped down as coach of Tennessee. I didn't realize how polarizing Bruce Pearl's become. So Bomani Jones on his podcast called him the emptiest person he's ever seen, and gave a story, and then that prompted me to do some research because as reporters, as journalists, that's what we do. Apparently, he's maggoted out in the last couple of years. He's kind of like gone with Darth Vader in him. So this doesn't surprise me that seeing how college sports is being kind of ran and how the players have more say and how the players have more leverage. Another older coach leaves. Is this going to stop? Or have we seen the last of these old coaches not assimilating to the system because it doesn't benefit them? Because it seems like Bruce Pearl had a lot of power, and just like Mike Bennett, just like Coach Krzyzewski, just like Jay Wright, just like Roy Williams, they're all said, we don't have that power. We can't control this anymore. Let's get the fuck out of here.
And he's definitely cut from that cloth where they just don't have the power. They don't know how to adapt. Unlike our boy Rick Pitino, who's shining and flossing up in Queens. So I just think that's it. I think he saw the end. The end is there, and he got out. I don't blame him because I think from what we're seeing along the landscape of college basketball, once you saw the old guard start falling off and they couldn't adapt. I mean, it's only a matter of time before Calipari, but even him, he's kind of like he's more cut from the Patino cloth, where he's not going anywhere, but he'll find a way to finesse the system.
Bruce Pearl's garbage. He saw another coach become a senator, and he's trying to be a politician too. He is disgusting, putrid. That's why I love Bruce. That's why
I can definitely see Bruce Pearl at a NRA rally.
Oh Jesus! I can see him. I can see him at the next January 6th rally. I can see him at one of those, just hanging out, chilling. Listen, Tommy Tuberville's a senator, and he might be one of the dumbest people alive. So if he can do it, Bruce Pearl can do it. So God bless. Get that done out there. Final story tonight. WrestlePalooza.
Oh my goodness! I was just gonna say Indiana could at least appreciate they had a lot of WWE PLEs this year.
Listen, I didn't watch it. I didn't even try to get on because I was still confused on if I could, because I have ESPN through my cable service. And Verizon's like, if you have it, you can get the unlimited. But then people online was like, nope, that's bullshit. Can't do it. That doesn't work that way. And I'm like, wait, you still have to pay for it? I'm like, wait, I thought I had the limit. This whole thing's a disaster. And then to top it off, ESPN's writer gave the show like a C. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, ESPN didn't even like the damn show. What were your thoughts on the show? And this whole thing's been a disaster since they moved to ESPN out.
It's a bunch of it's karma. It's karma for how they snake Peacock. They used the 2-night WrestleMania and the 2-night SummerSlam as a way to get out the contract early. Mm-hmm. ESPN launched this app with no real content early, and they kind of panicked. And then they hyped up this WrestlePalooza like it's gonna be Royal Rumble or Royal Rumble WrestleMania SummerSlam level, not a regular PLE, but on the Big Four level. And it was a glorified Saturday main event.
When I saw R-Truth explaining how to get the show, I was like, okay, I'm like, wait a second. So people are confused. I know, if you listen to the Wrestling Observer, they talk about this for a week.
I signed up at 6:30 that night.
So you you watched it?
I watched it, yeah.
Did you pay the $30 or?
Yeah, I did a bundle package.
Oh, come on. Damn.
They got me.
Listen, when I saw R-Truth explaining, I'm like, fully explaining how to do it. I'm like, this is bullshit. They don't know what's happening. They have no idea. TKO is killing his business. They're killing the territory right now.
But you know what? I do like them reviewing their own events because that's what they normally do anyway. So hold them accountable. Hold the WWE accountable.
Meanwhile, JBL's like, that's messed up. The same company, they shouldn't be doing that today. I'm like, apparently the only matches that was worth anything was EO and Stephanie Vaquer. That was
the best. I mean, I kind of enjoyed the mixed tag a little bit. A little bit.
I didn't watch it on principle just because I'm like, no, you're trying to snake AEW, and I don't appreciate that. So, no, you ain't getting my business tonight.
And I did enjoy the kids crying after Brock nerfed Cena for the God knows how many times.
I know. Again, because he did this shit 10 years ago. So now we're replaying shit that happened 10 years ago. This is what we're doing now, Triple H. Great booking there, guy. I'm just over this company. And now, like, TKO executives say, Vince didn't care about prices. Like, yeah, that's true. That's why, people could afford to go to shit. And you're selling a 2-day WrestleMania pass for like 40 G's. And I'm like,
which
cool.
is crazy.
Cool. This is what's happening now.
But you know what? We should have saw this coming, especially the way we see UFC prices are always insane. Now WWE prices are going to match it. And at least for UFC, at least starting in January, I can watch it on Paramount without paying for an event every month.
The extra. Well, I didn't order AEW. I almost did, but I knew I was going to be home. So I was like, I'm going to waste the money. But they're on HBO Max. You do have to pay to get the show, which I'm like, shit, that sucks.
For now, I think they're going to change that model. But
I think they have to change the model. But also, too, Tony came out and said, we're keeping our prices low. I'm like, put that out there. And they're saying Mania is going to be in Saudi Arabia. Tony's like, we might do a show that day later because their show's going to be at 1 o'clock because they're in Saudi Arabia. We can do a stadium show the same day. And then that brings indie promotions back because indie promotions piggyback off of WrestleMania.
They're not going out there. And they're not going up.
They could go AEW, but hey, we're doing a bunch of indie shows. GCW is doing like 4 shows in a weekend, and you can keep that ecosystem going. So AEW, and I like how they're not really talking about the WWE anymore. I'm happy that they kind of dropped like just bringing shit up and saying, nope, we're about us. We're going to handle our shit. I got some ideas. We'll try them shits out and see what happens.
Well, I feel like they have to, especially with the whole partnership with TNA. I heard TNA is looking for a television deal, and if WWE keeps helping them,
TNA. They're buying TNA. TKO is going to buy TNA any day now. It's going to happen. I don't think they're going to stay. So? I don't think they're going to stay put independent anymore. I really do think we're getting to that point where WWE is going to buy TNA.
Oh wait, speaking of blood money and all the Saudi Arabia stuff, is it true LeBron's trying to form a league overseas?
So he can continue his playing career. He'll be like Felipe Lopez playing in Puerto Rico till he's 45 years old.
Oh man, that's a name from the past, Felipe Lopez. Oh my goodness,
Jesus, so bad. Jay, thanks for coming on. I know it was last minute. I know you had work right now, so I appreciate it.
Yep. No problem. All
right. So, big news, armchairing, obviously, every Wednesday with Bruce, 8 p.m. here on the One Podcast Network. Starting October, the Resistance. I had to push it back because I'm waiting on some intro music and stuff. So, October, Resistance starts. Nice. And tomorrow morning, Live Free, Laugh Hard, show about Jim Norton from Opie and Anthony. We did a whole hour, kind of, on Jim Norton. We did like 50 minutes on Jim Norton and 20 minutes on random comedy shit. But that's tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. here on One Podcast Network. That drops tomorrow too. So a lot going on here. As always, we're back next Thursday, 8 p.m. or 8:30. I like the 8:30 slot. I was able to walk my dog. I walk my dog and shit. Get that out the way. So I don't know. Nice. We'll see what happens next week. But we'll be back next Thursday here on One Podcast Network. For Jason, I'm Kahlil. Thanks so much. Peace.
This has been The Box Out with Kahlil Thomas and Jason Kortner. Subscribe now for the best tri-state area basketball talk.